lose it. Here's Rue. Rue trying to center behind the net. Rue comes back to the point. Shot taken, deflected wide. Backhand by Girardi. That's kicked wide. Here's a shot by Rue. That's knocked down. Girardi, a pile to the left. Shot, goal! Rue with his second marker of the night. 2-0 Hibbing, 11:26 to go, first period. Denny, same type of situation.
There you have it again. They were putting so much pressure on young Mackey, couldn't do a thing. He went out to his left to try to smother the puck, and it squirted loose again, and there they are right in front of the net. Another easy goal. You can't fault Mackey for either one. He's done everything they've asked of him, and he's seen a lot of rubber here in the first 3.5 minutes already, and it's 2-0 Hibbing. But you got to give credit to the Blue Jackets. They're all over him.
That line of Rue. Girardi, who picked up an assist, and O'Brien has been all over the Blue Devils and the Virginia end of the ice early in this first period. It is 2-0 Hibbing, 11:19 to go in the period. Terrell out centering this line. Steve Terrell on the draw with Corey Gerlach just outside the Virginia blue line. Blue Devils batted to the Hibbing line. It's picked up right below us and shot back into the Virginia end. Around behind the Blue Devil net. Getting there first for Virginia is 17, Brian Mackey. He dumps it back to the near corner. Hibbing keeping the pressure on with Hardy. Mike Hardy loses the puck, and Metza has it behind his own net. Metza starts up the slot, gives it on the right side, and Virginia forces it out to neutralize. Play continuing right below. Jam up along the boards. Hibbing comes loose with the puck, and here come the Blue Jackets. Pete Wohlers, he tees it up, and he's wide by a couple of feet. Blue Jackets batted in around behind the Blue Devil net. Metza gets there first and works it up along the left board. Metza gets it back on a return pass and carries out to neutralize. He dumps in. Hibbing's Mike Hardy chasing around behind his own net to Wohlers. Wohlers has to go off his skate. It's loose right down in the corner. Picked up again on the back by Hardy. Hardy goes cross ice in his own zone. It's kept in at the point by Metza. His shot is knocked down. It's loose, and the Blue Devils have control. That's Speltz. Speltz backhands it down into the Hibbing corner. Play continuing there. Finally, the Blue Jackets working around to the near board. Right in the corner, that's Wohlers. He's going to look for a face-off, and I think he's going to get one. Jam up with 4 players. Whistle stops play. 10:07 to go first period. It's 2-0 Hibbing.
The only thing that prevented Hibbing from breaking out that time very easily is that there was a couple of sloppy passes. When Virginia's had to dump it in, Hibbing goes back, gets possession of the puck, and so far they've been able to come out quite easily. The only thing that saved them that time was pure and simple. There was a couple of sloppy passes. Otherwise, they would have broke right out of the zone. Virginia's going to have to forecheck on them when they're in the offensive zone.
Paul Paletti centering Scott Sano in the left and Willie Speltz on the right for the Blue Devils. Hibbing counters with a line headed by 17, Doug Terrell. The Blue Jackets force it out to neutralize, batted off the far board there. The puck is loose, and now it's kicked into the Virginia end. Into that far corner. The Blue Jackets and Blue Devils jam up. It comes up along the point. Shot taken there. It's tipped wide. The shot was by Joe Gosted. Behind the Blue Devil net, 15, O'Donnell's having all kinds of problems. Speltz comes in to help out. He's ridden down and knocked down by Sullivan. Puck is picked up by the Blue Devils' Babaraki. Babaraki comes up a seam and gets out to neutralize. He shoots it into the Hibbing end. Into that far corner, there's Gosted for the Blue Jackets. Gosted works it to the near corner, slips and falls, controls the puck still. He's ridden off, but he has help on the way. The Blue Jackets looking for a face-off will have one. 9:17 to go first period. It's 2-0 Hibbing.
You know, when we pulled up tonight about 5 minutes to 7, I saw so many cars in the parking lot. We had to park way in the back, and I was thinking, oh, this place is going to be just jammed tonight. The people in Hibbing must all go to the game in one guy per car.
Nice crowd on hand here, as Denny mentioned. Nonetheless, the Blue Jackets and Blue Devils kicking off the IRC 85-86 season. Callister and Rue will face it off in the Hibbing end to the left of goalie Jim Monticelli. Rue has both Hibbing goals and quite similar scores. Shot into open nets after Paul Mackey had made a couple of big saves for the Blue Devils in goal. And the Virginia just failed to clear the puck, and Rue was there and whipped her into that open cage.
There's no doubt, Ole. You can't fault Mackey at all. He made a couple of big saves, real big saves, and he made an absolutely superb save right off the bat when it come down, and Rue took a shot, and he just got a piece of it. They come down again. They pumped some rubber at him. He kicked it out, and eventually it just the walls caved in. He got no help. Absolutely no help in front. The defenseman got to clear the puck. Mackey can't do it on his own. It's 2-0. If the Devils could get something going offensively, get back into this one. I think they're a little down now. You know, you fall behind 2 goals to a quality team like Hibbing early. It does demoralize you. I don't know, we're to have a little break here because Paul Mackey apparently has some equipment troubles. Maybe it looked like there was something wrong with his helmet or his face mask. But nonetheless, at 9:17 left in the first period, and Hibbing has already jumped out to a 2-0 lead. It doesn't spell anything good for the Blue Devils.
Danny, you had a chance to see all those teams in the Jamboree, along with your sidekick that night, Dutch Mahonen. Who are you going with to win the IRC?
Well, first of all, I got to tell all of the Dutchmen who are great fans that I did speak to the psychiatrist, and he informed me that Dutch is coming back in a couple of weeks, that the treatments are working well, that the shock treatment has helped, and Dutch is back on the top of his game. He's presently up in Canada doing the play-by-play for Hockey Night in Canada, as we both know. But I'll tell you what, I watched really closely for the Hibbing-Greenway matchup that night, and it certainly didn't disappoint me. I enjoyed it. Hibbing, although they did lose in that shortened game, they played very well. Jernander, electrifying hockey player for Greenway. I still say Hibbing's the team to beat.
Oh, okay, the Blue Jackets are the favorite, and Denny Baca to his mind, and now the play continues right below. Virginia shoots out to the Hibbing end. Icing is on the way, and it is called on the Blue Devils. Denny, we may as well take a quick minute here and talk about Grand Rapids. The Indians have the most seniors back of any team, and maybe the best 1-2 goaltending punch. If it isn't in Hibbing, it's certainly in Grand Rapids in the IRC.
Well, in my opinion, I feel that Jabot and young Nelson over in Grand Rapids are the best 1-2 punch. That's strictly my opinion, but I'll tell you what, Hibbing has Monticelli. Monticelli played more games in nets last year than Hajduk did. And he's a superb goaltender, and you know as well as I do, as well as your team can go as far as your goaltending can carry you sometimes, and Monticelli's right in that mold. But when you look at goaltenders, the IRC has a host of excellent goaltenders. Bucky Jensen up at the Falls looks like he's going to be a very good goaltender. Mackey's going to do very well for Virginia. Ersbaumer from Elbeth, who's I'm afraid is going to be really tested this year because the Golden Bears are a little bit down. Kukowski over at Chisholm in a surprise team. The surprise team of the Jamboree was the Chisholm Cook Blue Streaks.
Play continuing in the Virginia end. You saw in that earlier faceoff, Rue got it back to Girardi. Girardi took the shot. Rue could not finish on the rebound, but Rue was right at it again behind the Blue Devil net. He centers it. Mackey bats it back behind the Blue Devil end. Here comes Metza. Metza trying to find a seam. He gets around Girardi and carries out to neutralize. Metza stripped of the puck. Girardi takes it back in. He takes a big check in his dump. Back to neutralize. Rue lays the body in for Hibbing, but the Blue Devils, he gets in over the line. He's ridden off the puck, and here comes Rue. He dumps into the Virginia end. Hibbing changing on that dump. Metza behind the net. He has a seam he can carry for a ways. He flips up along the right side and out to neutralize come the Blue Devils. Here's Callister. He avoids the check and kicks it into the Hibbing end. Terrell flips it up ahead, and it's now loose and neutralized. Blue Devils bat it right back in. Terrell gets it behind his own net for Hibbing. That's Steve Terrell. He flips it along the near board, and here comes the left wing, Sundvald. Sundvald is knocked off of the puck, and starting back there is Wohlers. Wohlers cuts across his own zone and carries out. Pete Wohlers tees it up and takes a long drive. Mackey steers it off to the corner. The Blue Devils, E. O'Donnell centers it, and here comes Gerlach out of his own end. Corey Gerlach over the line, flips in. Monticelli steers it over to the corner. Gerlach chases it down and is ridden off by Terrell. Terrell pokes it out to the blue line. Here's a chance for O'Donnell. His shot is partially deflected, and Hibbing comes out. The Blue Jackets, Kasner dumps into the Virginia end. O'Donnell is taking a hit behind his own net by Dilla. Tony Dilla puts the pressure on, but Virginia Speltz clears it not out into the far corner. O'Donnell is tied up by 16. Tom Sullivan, a couple more join the fray. 2-0 Hibbing, 7:11 to go first period.
Only Virginia's unable to do anything offensively when they get into the zone. It's either a missed pass or Hibbing just acquires a control of the puck. It comes out right away. It's going to be a long evening if they don't get some offense going. One guy you got to look for, the trigger man on the Blue Devils, I believe they're probably their premier goal scorer. You're going to have to look at Mike Callister.
On the draw into the Virginia corner, that's 11 for the Blue Devils. Scott Stanaway, he's ridden off the puck. Willie Speltz has it along the near boards. He headmans it to Paletti. Paul Paletti gets it just out over the line. Hibbing starts right back. Gosted, he gives way there to 16. Sullivan into the corner. He's ridden off, but the puck is still in the Virginia end. In that far corner, that's Stanaway. Stanaway kicks it out to the blue line. Hibbing tees it up and takes a shot. It's loose. Here's a chance for Gosted. Joe Gosted winds down to the slot. He takes a shot. Oh, it goes through everyone. A very weak shot. It was there to be deflected if anyone was Johnny on the spot. Into the far corner. Hibbing ties it up. The Blue Jackets break out over the face-off circle, back to the point, teed up shot, taken, saved by Mackey. Puck is loose. Mackey's able to cover up with Hibbing at the doorstep. That was Steve Stavness from the point.
That was a good play on Paul Mackey's part. Ole fought off the screen and was able to, he tried to glove it on the initial shot, lost control and fell on it. It was a good play on his part. Another point, Hibbing is picking up every loose puck. And anytime you do that, boy, you can make things happen. The Blue Devils haven't been able to do that. So far, it's been Hibbing all the way.
Steve Terrell on the draw with Mike Callister. This should be interesting. Callister gets the draw back to O'Donnell. O'Donnell has pressure, so he shoots it around behind his own net. Blue Devils working into the near corner. That's 13, Brian Corpy, trying to get it up along the boards. It's kicked loose, and Hibbing keeps the pressure on. O'Donnell for Virginia in his own end. Backhands it behind the net to teammate Babaraki. Babaraki's ridden off of the puck. O'Donnell wheels and comes back the other way behind his own net. O'Donnell's having all kinds of problems. Hibbing is doing a good job of forechecking. Finally, the Blue Devils crack out with Callister, but the puck is loose to neutral ice. Sheehy takes a hit and gives way to Callister. Callister with a little pass across the blue line. It's broken up by the Blue Jackets, and Hibbing starts back. That's 14, Pete Wohlers. Wohlers in over the line. He kicks it ahead to himself. Wohlers centers a pass, batted into the corner by Babaraki. Sheehy takes a hit in the corner. He's tied up there by 15, Pazuzzi. The Blue Jackets, Wohlers has the puck now circling the zone. Wohlers moves in along the top of the face-off circle. Wohlers gives off. Back to the point. Here's Hoosman. Hoosman takes a shot. That's deflected to a corner. Wohlers again. He's ridden off the puck, and the Blue Devils clear it, but not out. Shot in, deflected wide. Good shot taken by Hoosman, and it was deflected wide by Wohlers. Virginia forces it out along the boards, and into neutral ice comes Sheehy. Sheehy kicks the puck ahead off his pants, and it's shot wide across the zone right below us. There's Girardi for Hibbing, circling into center ice. Girardi in over the Blue Devil blue line. He's ridden off the puck, and it goes into the far corner. Darren Cobb kicks it up ahead, but Hibbing keeps it in. Here's a shot from the left point, tipped wide. The shot was taken by Hardy, and Mackey got a stick on it. Behind the Blue Devil net, Girardi working the puck in the corner. Girardi centers it. It goes through everyone and gets out to neutral ice, where it's controlled by Mike Hardy. Hardy across to his mate, Stavness. Back to Hardy. Hardy flips it, but not very well. It's loose right below us. Jam up, as you can see. 4 players there, and we'll have a whistle. 4:28 left, first period. It's 2-0, the Blue Jackets.
Well, Ole, it's been relatively a crisp first period so far up to this point. The Blue Jackets are pretty well in a position where they're able to do almost at will what they want with the puck. Virginia's having troubles both defensively and offensively. Another thing that you'll notice when the Hibbing forwards pick up a head of steam and Virginia's defensemen are at the blue line, the forwards are going right on around them. Virginia can't match up speed-wise. They're gonna have to start trying to knock them off the puck physically rather than try to poke check it, because so far they haven't been able to do that.
John Rue is up centering a fourth line for the Blue Jackets. Virginia chases down in his own end. That's Metza behind his own net, being bothered there by 6 O'Brien. O'Brien gets it to Rue. Rue looking in the slot. Rue centers the shot, knocked down by the Blue Devils. There's a rebound, and it's loose. Rue behind the Virginia net. Rue has been the outstanding player to this point in the hockey game. There's a shot from the point. It's deflected wide. Mackey dumps both the Blue Devil and the Blue Jacket, who were both in his crease. Metza has it in the far corner. He centers it along the wing. It's kept in by Rue. Back to O'Brien, to Girardi. He tees it up. He shoots. It's stopped by Mackey. Here's a chance for Hardy. Hardy drives when it's deflected by traffic in front. Hibbing definitely controlling the play in the first period. No question about it. Puck loose in center ice. We've reached the 3.5-minute mark in the first period. Hibbing bats it into the Virginia end. And a chase there is Sullivan along with Mackey. Mackey dumps Sullivan. It's into the far corner. Now some crisp body checking from both sides. Centered through the slot, and it gets out to neutral ice. Here's Joe Gosted. He flips into the Virginia end. Hibbing changing up a few players on this long shift without a whistle. Mike Callister avoids a hit and pushes the puck, but not out. Hibbing keeps it in. There go the Blue Jackets. Schwartz just missed. There's Schwartz with a second opportunity. It goes off of Mackey and across the goal mouth. The Blue Jackets, Sullivan controls. Sullivan back to the point now for Hoosman. Hoosman tees it up. There's Schwartz. He backhands. That's just wide. The Blue Devils ball on the puck behind their own net. One of the defensemen, I believe it was Tom Metza. And that will stop play with 2:47 to go in the period. 2-0 Hibbing over Virginia.
Ole, it took the Blue Jackets about 50 seconds to get into this hockey game tonight. And boy, I'll tell you, they haven't done anything since that period to prove that they're not going to be playing high-flying hockey all night. The Blue Devils a lot of standing around. That last 30 seconds, it was as though they were pylons out there, and the Blue Jackets just kept moving the puck, and Virginia's going to have to get their act together. It'll be a long night.
The Blue Devils, O'Donnell dishes off on the left side. Sheehy's going to be able to carry out. He takes a hit, and boy, is he dropped by Terrell. Puck is loose now along the near boards in the Virginia end. That's Zaboznik. Zaboznik working behind the net. Zaboznik centers to the slot. Oh, Terrell whiffed on a chance. That was big Steve Terrell with a chance to make it 3-0. Good check there by the Blue Devils, and Virginia has the puck. Given away to Terrell. Terrell from high in the slot. He shoots it over the top of the net along the near board here. That's Hardy. Hardy loses to Callister, who circles behind his own net. Virginia's had fits getting out of their own side of the ice. Callister flips up to Sheehy. Sheehy, he takes another hit in the center ice and has to give the puck up. Dumped back in by the Blue Jackets. Mackey tips it over to O'Donnell in this far corner. O'Donnell takes a hit from Terrell and is ridden off of the puck. Terrell having trouble now with the Blue Devils, Darren Cobb. Now O'Donnell and Terrell jam up. Girardi comes in and works with Terrell. There's a shot and a great stop by Mackey. The puck is loose. What a stop on the shot by number 4, Joe Gosted. Virginia forces the puck out to neutral ice. It's been all Hibbing in the first 15 minutes. Joe Gosted flips it in for the Blue Jackets. Virginia trying to stop it along the near board. Taking a hit there was 19 for the Blue Devils. Dean Edstrom getting his first shift of the hockey game. Still loose. Jam up of players, and now we have a whistle. And we also have our first penalty in the hockey game. It's going to go against the Blue Jackets. Mr. Girardi's going to get a couple of minutes for holding, I do believe, Paul Girardi. And the Blue Devils with 1:12 to go in the first period will have a chance to cut that deficit in half.
Well, only with 1:12 left in the first period, Paul Girardi is going to go off for holding. Virginia's going to go on the power play. Well, I'll tell you, they desperately need something to happen, something good. I believe the refs are going to have to start bringing Monticelli no dose, because he's a the Maytag repairman down there, the loneliest guy in town. You know, it's purely accidental that the puck got down there in the last 10 minutes. I don't know how it did, but the Blue Devils will fight back.
Speltz flips it, but not in deep enough, and Hibbing shoots it out to neutralize Tom Metza. Metza carries over the red line. He's ridden back. He flips it to Speltz. Speltz gets around one, flips into the Hibbing end, but Schwartz is there to backhand it out to neutral ice and out of harm's way. Deflected out of play over the Hibbing bench. 48 seconds to go in period number 1. It's 2-0 Blue Jackets. Danny, have you had a chance to chart those shots on goal in the first period?
No, Ollie, I decided that this year I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take them right from the PA. We've had so many discussions about, you know, what constitutes a save, that from now on I'm just giving in and I'm going along with the PA system. And I'm going to let him know when he's wrong. I got him counted on my fingers just in case I need him.
Face off, right neutralized, and it's flipped out to Metza.
And one thing's nice is, because I don't know if I can count high enough for Mr. Mackey so far in his first period. He's been busy. Done a great job, too, by the way.
Callister busts in, but Gosted has it for the Blue Jackets with 30 seconds to go in the first period. He flips it along the left side to Huseman, who shoots at the length of the ice. That will just about do it for this period. 25 seconds to go. Virginia has time for one rush if it can get out of its zone. And Schwartz controls for Hibbing. Great job by John Schwartz. He did a good job killing penalties a year ago, if I remember right. Behind the Virginia net, that's 17 Mackey. Mackey flips it up to 13. Corpy. Corpy back to Mackey. Mackey now at center ice, red line. He flips it in. Corpy has trouble. It's ridden off the puck. Terrell comes back for Hibbing, and that'll do it. 15 minutes of hockey are over, and it's 2-0 Hibbing. Denny comments on the first period in just a moment. We want to remind you, good folks, in Hibbing, Virginia, Evelyn, Gilbert, and Mountain Iron, that these programs are coming to you on your cable systems, Hibbing Community College Channel in Hibbing, and North American Cable System in Virginia. Denny, how about the shots on goal and scoring?
Okay, Ole, for Jim Monticelli of Hibbing, they've got him going for 5 saves, and boy, I'll tell you, I don't remember them, because they were far and few between, and Paul Mackey had 12. You could see that Hibbing was dominating the play. Mackey played superb. You can't fault the guy. 2 goals were scored. He made 2 or 3 initial stops. Defense was unable to clear the puck, and they just scored. It's something that happens. Monticelli there again, 5 saves, virtually untested. A couple of those where he just froze the puck. You know, it's one of those, if he didn't stop it would have went in, but it really wasn't much of a shot. He just smothered it. I'll run over to scoring in the first period. It was John Rue all the way. He scored at, I believe it was 14-14. I might be wrong on that one, and I apologize for that. And at 11:26, he scored his second goal, assisted by Paul Girardi. Penalty to Girardi at 1:12 of the period for holding. Blue Devils simply didn't do anything here this evening so far, and yet they're still quite fortunate. It's only 2-0. Mackey's kept them in the game. Virtually, Monticelli, as I mentioned, really had nothing, no hard saves at all. And Virginia is going to have to come out in the second period and start skating.